I'm going to preview the Baylor at Utah women's soccer game, which will be played on October 20th at 2 p.m. Central Time on ESPN Plus. There will be live stats as well. And Baylor's coming off of a 3-3 tie with BYU in order to be 7-6-4 overall and 2-4-3 in the Big 12. And that tie was frustrating to say the least. Yeah, they were down 1-0 at halftime, but guess what? They scored 3 goals in the second half. And literally, BYU scored 2 goals within 2 minutes in the last 7 minutes in the game or something like that when you look at it. The scoring have put in. That was just frustrating. And one of those goals was a PK on a handball. I mean, that was very frustrating. Just don't give up one of those goals quickly and win those 2 goals, you win the game. Or don't have the PK happen, you win the game. Or even the first goal, you win the game. To say the least, that was very frustrating. And Utah is coming off a win against Houston, but let's be clear, Houston's one of the worst teams in the Big 12. That's nothing to write home about. I mean, they only have like 1 conference win. And when you look at the Big 12 standings, which I'll go over in a second here, you'll know why. And Utah is 7-5-4 on the year, 4-3-2 in the Big 12. And I'll put the roster in the description below as well as the outlook on them, because I'm not going to mention every single player listed here. And in terms of RPI, Baylor's RPI did go up, actually, to 43. It would have been more if Baylor would have won. Let's be clear, and BYU's is now 42, but I know that's besides the point here. If Baylor would have won, they would have jumped BYU. And they were so close to doing it, but they couldn't. While Utah's RPI, the opponent I should really focus on, is 87. Yeah, not that great in terms of RPI right now for them. So, what are some players to keep an eye on for Utah? And you could tell what formations they use in the description below, or even like the last 5 or so games here. I mean, that's the truth. The most commonly used goalie this year, and I do not know the injury status on Utah. I definitely know Marissa Gray for Baylor did not play last game. I don't know about her playing in this game. We'll have to wait and see. And right now, Baylor is 11th in the Big 12. Another thing to mention on the Big 12 standings on that situation, while Utah is actually 7th in the Big 12 right now. And depending on results, you might move up in the standings. You're not going to get past Kansas and Arizona, Utah and BYU, obviously. But you could at least jump Arizona State if they would lose, which I don't know about that, because when you look at the schedule, I wouldn't think so. But either way, in all this, and the bottom 4 teams have like 6 points or less. So good news is the points per, you're at 1, and the other teams not below them are not that. And the good news is also that UCF and Iowa State have tough games ahead. Houston's going to play BYU next. They shouldn't lose. BYU shouldn't lose to them. But if they did, that would really hurt their RPI, I know. Yeah, like literally, UCF is playing Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's going to win, even though the game's in Orlando. Iowa State's going to play TCU at home, and that's actually our last game of the year is against Iowa State. But Iowa State's not going to win that game. Let's just be clear, they shouldn't. Yeah, Arizona State's playing Kansas, and Kansas is playing really good right now. So that's the only reason why I'm saying we could move up, is because what if Arizona State were to were to lose to Kansas and we tie with them? Hopefully we do not tie with Utah, because tying with Utah would hurt our RPI more. Obviously, a win, we'll jump. But you get the whole point here, guys. I mean, it's important for the Big 12 standings to potentially move up one spot. And obviously, RPI wise, we need to get closer to like 40. We're like 43 right now. I don't know how much we would move up more by if we do get the win and some other results happen. Like, I'm not counting on BYU losing to Houston. I'm not counting on that at all. Okay. So the most commonly used goalie for Utah is Casey Wardle, number 0, 5'10" goalie. That is a senior, 13 goals allowed and 35 saves. There's Brooklyn Blaylock, number 3, 5'4" midfielder as a junior, 2 shots attempted and 2 assists. Kylie Bullock, number 7, 5'8" forward as a junior, 1 goal and 17 shots attempted and 3 assists. Okay, this next player you gotta definitely watch for is Taliana Kafusi, which I get that maybe their stats are inflated because they're quality competition, not just in the Big 12, but in the non-con as well. Is like 5'11" forward, 5'11" forward as a senior, number 8, 10 goals and 44 shots attempted and 1 assist. There's Grace Watkins, number 9, 5'3" midfielder as a senior, 5 shots attempted and 2 assists. Go down the list. Lilia Blum, yeah, number 18, 5'3" midfielder as a sophomore, 1 goal and 27 shots attempted and 7 assists. There's Katie O'Kane, number 20, 5'4" forward as a senior, 6 goals and 28 shots attempted and 2 assists. Katie Calloway, number 23, 5'6" midfielder as a sophomore, 2 goals and 11 shots attempted and 2 assists. And Bella Woods, number 24, 5'7" midfielder as a sophomore, 2 goals and 19 shots attempted and 3 assists. And one last player is Kaylee Blaylock, yeah. Number 5, 5'10" defender that is a freshman, 2 goals and on 8 shots attempted. So they do have players that score more than 4 goals, as you could tell. So I'm going to say this right now. This is a must win when I see one. You cannot afford a bad RPI loss if you want to think about NCAA tournament. I mean, obviously a win here would boost potentially the Big 12 standings, but I think we're okay for that as long as we beat Iowa State no matter what. But this is a must win because, one, get that Big 12 tournament, you could solidify yourselves. You're definitely going to the Big 12 tournament no matter what. And 2, you need this for RPI purposes. You cannot have a bad loss. And what you did wrong last game, correct it for this game, and hopefully there's no weather delays or the game's canceled or anything like that. Hopefully not. We'll see about the weather though. It is what it is. And I know Utah had weather issues as well against Houston. So both teams are playing, coming off of a game that started later, for 1, and 2, finished later than they expected. And the good news is, too, the travel is not that bad. I mean, BYU to Utah, look at the distance. It's not that much. So you should be okay for this game. And I would honestly say, shut down. Defensively, you got to be a little bit better. And if you're going to try a closeout to get a win, protect the lead at all costs. Clear the ball out in your own end defending. And please do not allow so many shots to Utah unlike BYU. That's just the truth. And don't get down early. unlike that BYU game. Don't turn the ball over in your own end, and even in the midfield. Obviously, if you do that to them, you got to take advantage of it. No fouls in the box, no handballs in the box, if possible, because that results in a PK. And obviously, if you force that onto a team, you got to take advantage of the PK, and no dangerous free kicks potentially, and the scoring end. And obviously, if you draw that, that's different. And another thing across the board, you can't rely on officiating. I know, I just said if you draw that. That's if the refs really call it that way. You can't let the officiating make the difference in this game, because you gotta find ways. We gotta find ways to win here in this juncture. And another thing across the board, you gotta come out with energy, a lot of energy in this game. Make adjustments on the fly. You gotta make adjustments sooner rather than later, and play your own game and let them and dictate the pace, and don't let Utah do that or ball possess. You gotta do that yourselves, and take all the frustration from last game and bring it to this game. I mean, that's just the truth. And you gotta be good on set piece defensively, like as in like a corner kick or free kick, a dangerous one at that. Obviously, you got to execute that on offense. Sometimes the best way to score is off of a corner kick. I'm just saying, and you got to have more shots than the opponent and more corner kicks than the opponent. That's another thing too that I need to mention, and make every shot attempt difficult for Utah and block some shots. Not just from the goalie, but defenders as well, like whether it's like on the back or even stomach or legs. But you get the whole point. Don't try to make their look so hard that they can't get it off. I mean, and all this, you got to pass the ball well and everything. So, and I don't want to overemphasize this here. You cannot afford a loss here. One, it would hurt your RPI, and maybe you're going to miss out on the NCAA tournament for sure with a loss. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and this is their last home game for Utah this year. Let's go out there, don't get intimidated by them or the crowd, and take the crowd out of the game as much as possible, and show them who's boss and who's the better team. Straight up. I mean, that's all I really got to say about this game, guys. And we need this bad as a win, because you can improve your Big 12 standings a little bit, but not a lot. I get it, but anything you could take just to avoid that number 12 spot, you gotta do it. And ties don't cut it either for this game, in my opinion, because a tie against a team with that RPI would hurt us more than would help us in this situation. And I get the tie with BYU helped us a little bit, but just imagine if you would have won that game, you would have passed BYU. And the good news is too that some of the teams around you actually had a loss. And in case of Colorado, we actually tied with. They actually tied with Cincinnati. Their RPI went down too. I mean, you cannot have the RPI go down at this point. And I'm sure that they will come out with a sense of urgency, and they know what's at stake here. So let's go out there, get the job done. So anyways, if you like this content, hit the like and subscribe button. See you guys later on the road to 7 subscribers. Of course, our main goal is 1,000 more, so we might make money off this course. Like a video. Comment video really helps YouTube algorithm, so more people see it. Sharing the video does help as well, so more people can watch. And if you're watching and not subscribe, hit the subscribe button, free notification bell as well. And I have forgot to mention, you got to win those 50-50 balls. And if you have a lead, protect the lead. And if you have a 2-goal lead, make it a 3-goal lead. Leave no doubt in this game. Go ahead, try to leave no doubt, and don't let them climb back in the game unlike BYU. Okay, that's all I gotta say.